Welcome back to the Daily Drum on Sirius XM channel 141 and 96.3 and 96.3 HD2. I'm Bramante Bryant in for Harold Fisher. This is the Insight segment. Well, as we close out 2024, some of you may be looking ahead to your wellness journey, that is. For some, that specifically means working on your struggle with alcohol. For many, it's a tough hurdle. The first month of the new year, though, is an opportunity to begin a journey to conquer what may be a drinking problem for you. Tonight, it's our special topic, preparing for dry January. Our experts for tonight's Medical Monday will provide us with a great start. Joining us is Dr. Ravinia Brock, also better known as Dr. Rowe. She's an author, nutritionist, and a health and wellness coach. And Sherelle Duncan, she's a fitness coach as well as a mental health and sobriety advocate. We thank you both, Dr. Rowe and Sherelle, for being with us.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Dr. Rowe, I'm gonna start with you, and then I'll have Sherelle answer this this question too. What, in your experience, Dr. Rowe, motivates folks to participate in Dry January?
Well, I think for most people, and at least the people that I coach, they realize that they've gotten to a point where they need to pull back. So I think it's self-awareness. If you've been drinking too much, right? So at this point, Dry January becomes a means to an end. And maybe for some people, it's not drinking again at all. But for others, it's to slow down the pace of what you've been consuming so that you can do a reset, maybe, to get back to a better state of health.
Sherelle, you have a personal sort of story, with this. If you can, talk a little bit about your personal journey and same form of the question, too. Even participating in Dry January, rather.
This is such an emotional thing for me because I'm coming up on 1 year on this Thursday of being sober. And I started in January. I started January 2nd. My husband and I, we started this thing called 75 Hard, and it was just supposed to be for 75 days in my mind. But I knew once I got past January, something started to happen to me emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Something just changed in me, and I could feel the change. And I told my husband, I said, I may not drink again. And he was like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I may not drink again. And then I felt a sense of fear that came over me. Like, I'm going to lose people. I'm going to lose myself. Who am I going to be if I don't drink? But I kept going, and I started reading a lot. I started reading books about women who suffered with drinking, suffered with alcoholism. And one of the books in particular, How to Quit Like a Woman, really helped me to realize the psychological part of why I drank so much. And I masked it with just fun, right? And socializing. Oh, I'm socially drinking. But no one ever knew that when I came home, I'm still drinking, or I'm drinking in the morning when I wake up. I'm drinking before I go to bed. I wake up with a glass of wine beside my bed. Alcoholism and drug abuse runs in my family. So I knew that I had to break a generational curse, and I knew that it would start with me, so that I didn't want my daughters to see that anymore. And I started to sneak from my husband. It became really, really bad. So Dry January turned into Dry February, Dry March, and so forth and so on. And now it's about to be a whole 365 days that I've been sober.
Awesome. Dr. Rose, Sherelle, and congratulations, Sherelle.
Absolutely.
Dr. Rose, Chanel brings up an interesting point because, and I'll come back to having Sherelle maybe even comment on this. She said she and her husband, started this 75 days, which obviously Dry January. January only has 31 days. I got that right? 30 or 31 days. Mm-hmm. So one part of this is, how important is it to have someone there as a partner, someone, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, maybe if it's within a group setting, to sort of be with you as you're trying to start this process?
I believe it's crucial. I believe it's a necessary addition to your wellness and to your journey. I mean, because you can never be your own accountability partner, right? You can't do it in weight loss. You can't do it in drinking cessation. You can't do it if you're trying to stop smoking. Whatever the thing is, you're the worst accountability partner if you're trying to be it for yourself, because you're always going to give yourself a pass. Right. Oh, this time, maybe I'll just have enough. In this case, maybe I'll just have just one more drink. It's, like Sherelle said, it's fun. Or, oh, I'm just doing it socially. So the point is, I think for the fact that she and her husband committed to going 75 days hard. I like the term 75 hard, right? It's the best thing I think that either of anyone could do for themselves, to have somebody who's in it with you, somebody who that you have to be accountable to, and they've got to be accountable to you. So now you've got an accountability partner to help you keep yourself on track and to keep each other on track. It's the best ever. And Sherelle, you can go further. I'm sorry, you can go further when you do have this kind of accountability.
Sherelle, though, you did say something that caught my ear, and I want to ask you about this. First, I want to ask in terms of your husband joining with you. Was that part of his journey as well? Alcohol, or was it something different, or nothing at all?
No, my husband, he doesn't drink like that. He would only drink because I was drinking. So this wasn't, so 75 hard, you take away something that causes you the most harm, causes you the most danger, but it feels good to you. So for me, mine was alcohol. For his was cakes and sweets and stuff like that. So it wasn't, he's never suffered or had an issue with, and I'm sorry if I get emotional. This is just, okay. God has been working so major in my life. And Dr. Rose said something about, you tell yourself, you give yourself excuses. But one thing I did was God showed me, like literally, people that don't believe in the spirit and all that may find this creepy and scary, but God showed me what would happen if I did not stop drinking. The 3 days before I stopped drinking, my throat closed up. I couldn't even swallow. I couldn't get anything in. And I knew, and I wasn't sick. I don't get sick very often. And I was like, this has to be a sign from God, because why is my throat closing up? I can't, so I'm not going to be able to celebrate New Year's. And these are all the thoughts that I'm having. But my main thing is, what about all of this wine I just bought for New Year's? Like, how am I going to do that? And so, no, my husband, it wasn't about him being sober. He has just supported me. He asked me 3 times in this year, are you sure you're not going back drinking? After the 3rd time, I looked him in his eye and I said, I am completely done. I am complete. It's in God's will. I am completely done. So the days where I'm alone in the house, or I'm alone, or I'm driving, there's been days that I've been driving and I drove to the liquor store because my dad has been very sick. So that has been playing in my head, and the enemy's been trying to tell me, you need to drink. This is why you should drink. Right. And so one day I drove to the liquor store, and that liquor store, everybody knew me in there. They knew what I would get. They knew my order and everything. Right. So I went through the drive-through. This was in April, I'm sorry. And he said, oh, where you been? And when he said that, mind you, I'm in the drive-through. I just started crying in the drive-through. Like, he was like, are you okay? Are you hurt? What's going on? And I'm just like, leave me alone. Like, it was like, you don't realize the things that you have to fight. People don't realize that alcoholism is a true addiction. It is just like it is. Sometimes it may be even worse from weaning yourself from alcohol than crack cocaine. It is a hard thing. It is difficult because it's so socially accepted. You have so much fear that you may lose people. You lose your friends, the friends that you love to drink with. You may lose family. You lose yourself. And so you constantly are feeling isolated. You're feeling lonely. You feel fear. You feel judgment because now you don't drink. So now you're the alien. You know what I mean? And so it's just a conscious decision. So now what I did in that moment was I imagined myself getting the bottle of Sauvignon Blanc. I imagined myself putting it in a freezer to chill. I imagined myself pouring it. I imagined myself taking that first sip. And then I said, now what? what do we do now? Now that you did that, now what? That helped my journey. That helped my journey. Like, go through the entire process. Don't run from it. Don't try to punish yourself, or don't try to put yourself in timeout. Go through that process. Mentally take yourself through it. Write it down. Write down each step that you would do to take that first sip, and then ask yourself, now what do we do? And so that's what I've been doing my whole journey. So it's just been.
So I want to just get in because Sherelle is on it. She is on it with this. One of the ways that I coach my emotional eating clients through the pain and strife of emotional eating is to have them do the very same thing. If it's a piece of chocolate cake that you want, it's usually a hunk of chocolate cake. Because see, the thing is, we eat the chocolate cake in our minds before it ever gets to our lips. So if you can stop at that moment, then you have won. You've won. If you can just mentally go through, having the chocolate cake, or in this case, having the Sauvignon Blanc without actually drinking the Sauvignon Blanc, you have won. You've won. Oof. And Sherelle, I just have to say, there is nothing that God can't fix. Absolutely nothing. There is nothing that God can't fix. So I am so happy for you that you are on this journey, and you're not by yourself, and you are doing it with the ultimate source that can get you through it.
Dr. Rowe, Sherelle mentioned something. I mean, she had so many points that she was mentioning that we could sort of piggyback. But one of the things that I think is so important, whether you drink or don't drink, like, for example, I'm not a big drinker. If I drink anything, I might be out. And even then, it's barely nothing, and don't take offense, but it might be some like girly drink that's real sweet and I barely can taste the alcohol. But I'm cognizant sometimes, right, when I'm around my maybe certain friends who may drink a lot, are you going to be socially outcast in a way because you're not a drinker? And to Sherelle's point, if that's what you're used to, if that's part of your social maneuvering, that's got to be so difficult, and you're so conscious of that. Dr. Rowe, Sherelle is conquering it, but how do others who may not have that sort of fortitude, that self-discipline that it sounds like Sherelle has developed when you're in those social settings?
Yeah, so I'm in a social setting at this particular point. We're in a bar. I'm with friends. I'm with family, and everybody's taking shots. I don't do shots. So, I can't drink straight liquor, right? I don't like the taste of it. And it burns my stomach, right? So, I have the bartender in a move that when nobody's watching, I got to deal with the bartender that every time they take a shot, you're going to give me water and you can put it on a cube of ice.
But listen, because I got a minute left, and I want to hit this, and I want to cut you off. But what's so important here is that, though, you're also, it sounds like to me, right, acknowledging not to even want to make your cohorts that you're with feel uncomfortable. So you're kind of really taking a placebo drink. You're not just saying, don't give me anything.
Yeah, so I'm not going to have the tequila. It's water.
But you're conscious of, okay, I don't want them to feel bad that I don't want to take a shot. Am I understanding that right?
Honestly, I don't care if they feel bad.
Okay.
That's because this is my life. But you could take nothing, though.
But couldn't you just say no, right? Well, and don't give me any kind of cup, right?
Yeah, but it'll shut them down, though. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it kind of shuts them down. So they're not going to keep coming for you every time everybody takes a shot, right? I have my method. So that's the method. I'm doing water.
I've got you. All right. Yeah. Hold these thoughts, because there's so much more we get to talk about. This show, we are going to continue, but we're going to take a quick break. Dr. Rowe, if folks can want to get in touch with you, or you've got a website, can you share that with us?
Everythingrow.com. That's everythingro.com. All one word. Everythingrow.com. And everything is there.
And Sherelle, you are a fitness coach as well as a mental health and sobriety advocate. If folks want to get in touch with you, or you have a website, anything you'd like to share with us for folks to catch up with you?
Yes. So my website is just SherelleDuncan.com. Everything is there. You can also follow me on Instagram at Mrs. Sherelle Duncan. I have a fitness event that I'm hosting this Saturday that I will, and it's free. You look on my page, you come, you register. It's going to be super dope. I cannot wait. It's called Fit and Fears. So everybody should come out.
All right, folks, you've heard it. We're going to take a break. Remember, don't forget you can hear every edition of the Daily Drum Insight segment via podcast on WHUR.com, or you can download the 96.3 HD2 app on your smartphone and hear the program live in its entirety. This conversation continues online and on SiriusXM channel 141 and 96.3 HD2. The original Quiet Storm with Raheem Devon is next on 96.3 WHUR. Welcome back to the Daily Drum on SiriusXM channel 141 and 96.3 HD2. I'm Bramante Bryant in for Harold Fisher. This is a Medical Monday. Our topic tonight is dry January. If you are dealing with having an issue with alcohol and you want to use January as a dry month where you can try to kick what's been a struggle for you, for many, they use this month. It's starting off a new year to propel them to do away with alcohol if they can. Sherelle Duncan, I wanted to ask you about this. You also had mentioned that substance abuse, and I think you said, and you correct me if I'm wrong, whether it's alcohol or drugs, runs in your family, that is sort of generational. How have you dealt with that? Has that, for lack of a better term, has that helped you understand your struggle? Has it been a burden? How would you sort of describe that generational piece?
So yes, it is drugs and alcohol on both my mom and dad's side of the family. I've seen people lose everything. I've seen family members lose everything and not even realize they've lost everything. And I'm talking about just their physical, just the home and cars and things like that. And then they lose their support because of how the drug takes over their life. And you can't trust them anymore. You can't trust them in your home and you can't trust them in your car. You just can't trust them anymore. And so I never wanted to grow up and have people feel like they had to take care of me because of a decision that I chose to make, to put things into my body to make me out of my mind. Like I never wanted that, right? But this year, I really started to think about what would have happened if I didn't stop in January. This year would have probably been the worst year of my life because of the way God has set up my life this year, the blessings that he already had for me. I would have reared off the path that was already written and created my own path. And it would have just taken me into a deeper and darker depression. I've suffered with depression for over 20 years, clinically diagnosed with depression. I've suffered with anxiety. I've suffered with insomnia for 10 years. I've suffered with nightmares and the witch on my back, for lack of better words, what they say, when you're sleeping and not being able to sleep well and having hangovers and being frustrated, no patience with my children and not being able to perform the way, and also being a hypocrite to my clients. I've been a personal trainer since 2013. We would have months I'd be like, okay, y'all, we're going to do 30 days of no drinking. I will probably make it 2 weeks, to be honest. How can I preach wellness? And this may ruffle feathers, but I'm a feather ruffler, so I don't care. But how can I preach overall wellness, right? Overall mental clarity, wellness, time management, all of these things that creates you and sets you up for success when I'm drinking heavy, or if I'm drinking at all. Like, how is that? How does that and wellness coincide? And society will make you think it's okay. You can do that. You can have a few drinks, you can have wine, you can do that. And that's fine. I'm not pushing that on anybody else. But my journey says there is absolutely no alcohol coming into this house again, because I need to be well wholeheartedly. I need my mind to be clear. I need to be able to be there for my 14-year-old. She's going through, that stage where she's changing. Her body is different. She has different friends. I need to be able to be a safe space for her without having wine cloud my thoughts, having conversations with her. This is a very detrimental time for her in her life. And also my 4-year-old. So not just, for them, but for me as well. Like, I can't continue this generational curse with alcohol or drug abuse. Now, my family and some friends may say, "Oh, girl, just have a glass of wine. You did it," and I'll just look at them like, "Well, go smoke some crack." Like, it's saying the same thing. If you're a recovering addict, why would you tell me to just have a glass of wine when you know that you've been in recovery from a drug? It's the same thing. Alcohol is a drug. That's how I look at it. And like I said, it may ruffle feathers, but the facts are the facts. It tells you alcohol. It tells you what alcohol is. I don't have a turn off button when I start drinking. I don't know how to turn it off. I may start out with Sauvignon Blanc. The next thing you know, I may take a shot. Next thing you know, I may have beer. I may have some Jameson. It goes off the rails. So I'm not equipped to be a moderate drinker, to have one glass of wine. That's not how my mind is set up. So I know if it's bad for me, then I stay away from it. It's just like being in a bad relationship with a man, and he's, he give you good sex, and that's all he got, and everything else is horrible. But you stay because of that. Like, but you're not being treated well, so you stay. So that's how I look at it. Sorry if it was long-winded.
No.
It was good though.
Yeah,
it was good.
And I think what's important too is, in terms of the drinking, when you're saying that, that people sometimes think, oh, I'm just a moderate drinker. I'm just sipping. And then that sipping, if you're sipping all day, it's equal to somebody who, drinks 1 pint in a minute. But if you're sort of sipping all day, you're sort of equaling the same thing. And Dr. Rowe, when we're talking about dry January, it really, it's a nice title, right? But it still is kind of a New Year's resolution, right? And we know how New Year's resolutions can go. And you're a nutrition coach, and so that I'm going to lose weight, Dr. Rowe. I'm going to start eating better. And you start off with your bananas and your smoothie with your kale. And I'm talking about myself here in a minute. And then all of a sudden it fades, and you're eating the potato chips that I went to the grocery store and sweet potato pie. So you start off with dry January, right? So the holidays and the New Year's resolutions, two part. Let me get to the exact question. Really, what I was getting at is, how difficult is this during the holidays, especially when you're talking about alcohol, right? And then couple that, I'm going to piggyback that too about New Year's resolutions. So number one, holidays, you're trying to have a dry January, you're trying to stop drinking, but the holidays, I would think, invite drinking, special social drinking, right? Is that a tougher hill to climb?
Yes, I think it is a tougher hill to climb for most people. But I would also say, a lot of people do dry January and they get through it, and but a lot of people get through it and then decide not to drink. There are those people who get through it, like Sherelle, who get through it and decide not to drink. That said, one of the things, if you want to adopt a dry January as a resolution, and I really don't believe in New Year's resolutions anymore, because we all know that by the time you get to February, not even March anymore, the resolution has gone out the window, right? Whatever you resolve that you were going to do or not do by February, it's a wrap. Okay. So there's that. So I rather, my people, we set goals. I'd rather you set goals, like for your behavior, for whatever the behavior is. Set a goal, because goals, first of all, are measurable, and you can, because they are measurable, you can review what you've done to or for these goals that you've set for yourself periodically. You can keep up with it, and if you need to tweak something, if you need to change something, you can always do that with a goal, right? And you'll know if you've met the goal, because they're measurable. Resolutions are kind of flimsy, like, I'm going to lose weight, or I want to lose weight. And that's never the thing, because like, how much you're going to lose and what's the goal? See, ultimately you come back to what's a goal, what you needed in the first place, right? So, so if you really want to change your behavior, let's set goals. Let's do away with these resolutions, these flimsy resolutions that are gone by month 2 into the year, right?
Yeah. Sherelle, I'm interested in this with you, in that you had mentioned what you're doing, right? And it sounds like You're a very strong person. You set out, this is what I want to do. I don't want to be a hypocrite. And you correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like you had sort of that intestinal fortitude, like I'm going to do this. But I didn't hear where you necessarily had counseling, and maybe you've had it. So have you really been conquering this on your own, so to speak? And if so, what's your thoughts of needing counseling? And if I'm wrong, sort of help me and the listeners understand kind of how you got to the place of the understanding that you have and you've been sharing tonight.
You're a really good listener because you hit the nail on the head. It's just been me and Jesus, right? And with the help of my husband there, like I have always been the person who everybody calls on for help. And I am a great helper. I am amazing support system. I can be whatever you need me to be, when you need me to be it, how you need me to be it, if it doesn't cause me to, be morally wrong, right? So I said to myself, if I can be that to everybody else, if I can protect people, if I can uplift people, if I can give people inspiration, if I can motivate people, why isn't that? I just imagine who I would be if I did that for myself. Like really protected me, protected my heart, protected my mind. Stop creating false narratives about myself. Kill the narratives that were given to me as a child. All these things, people have thought I was an extrovert my entire life. I am not an extrovert. I have only performed as an extrovert because I was an entertainer for so long, and because people put on me, oh, Sherelle, the life of the party. When she comes, she gonna dance, she gonna turn up, she gonna get everybody hyped. And yes, I have been doing that, but what about me? What about how I feel about coming to the party? Do I even want to be at the party? And so it's just been me and Jesus. He is my greatest hype man. He is my greatest accountability partner. I pray several times a day. People know me already. Like before I even went sober, I ain't play about Jesus and Holy Spirit. I ain't play about it, right? But now it's even thicker because my life is on the line. My life is on the line. I want to impress me. I want me to know I'm here for me. I want me to know that I can motivate myself. I want me to know that I'm well. I'm not doing this for anybody else. I have set clear and firm boundaries this year. I have lost people this year. I have set boundaries with my husband, with my kids, with everybody, with my parents, with my brothers and sisters, friends. I let them know, like, y'all, I am letting you know right up front that certain decisions that I make, certain things that I say may disrupt your spirit, but I'm not intentionally trying to hurt you. I am getting better. I am healing myself in real time. And so it's just been me and God. I haven't went to an AA meeting. I haven't been to any groups. I haven't been a part of any of the sobriety groups or anything like that. One thing about me is that I'll take on people's demons and their spirits and stuff and try to fix them. And so I didn't want to be in any group settings because I'll hear somebody's story and then immediately, if I can help them, like with their self-esteem or their confidence, now it's no longer my journey anymore. Now I'm doing this, but I also feel like I can help her too. So let me give her my information so she can call me and I can do some coaching sessions with her. So it's just been me because I need this. I need this for me. So it's just been me. I've been heavy in prayer. This is the first time in my life that I have taken care of myself this way. And so, yeah, it's just been me. And I've been going super hard with taking care of me and protecting me and making sure that the little girl in me knows that we're safe now, right? We're safe now. We don't have to worry about anybody telling us that we have to drink or giving us shots or we don't have to worry about that. We make our own decision, not we, but you know what I'm saying? I make
it's my little girl decision. In you. Yeah.
Yes. The
but
thing
Doctor,
about it is
Sherelle is making point after point after point. So the thing is, first of all, she acknowledged when and where her development became derailed as a little girl. Right, as a little girl, that's something that a lot of people miss. You might be standing in front of a refrigerator looking for Ben and Jerry's every time you get hurt, but you don't know why. So you don't know, and you don't know when your development, your emotional development went off the rails. She just nailed it. She just told you about her own. It's a little girl. So she knows that probably more than anyone, the age that happened and how it happened and what happened, right? So that's one thing. The other thing she said was, she's protecting her own self. She's protecting her spirit. And so she doesn't need to cloud her protection by lopping her journey onto somebody else's journey, right? So these are, I hope everyone who's listening are catching these nuggets, because this can actually help to transform your life. This is a kind of work that most people need to do in this position, whether it's alcohol or food or whatever the drug is. This is the kind of work that has to be done.
And we're talking about alcohol, but dry January really could be a metaphor for anything that you're trying to conquer. Wouldn't that be
Absolutely.
so, Dr. Rowe?
For anything that you are trying to conquer, just to your point. So it could be dry January or whatever the thing is that you need to change. We talked earlier about changing your behavior. If you know that you've been engaging in some behavior that is not serving you, that is holding you back, that is keeping you from the life that you want and the life that you deserve, use January. Sure, use it to get started on a new possibility for yourself, right? And so, yeah, and that's alcohol or whatever the thing is that's holding you back. Because you can be sure, for all the people that are listening to this show, there's somebody in this audience that knows that he or she is being held back by some behavior that they've been engaging in, and they just don't know how to take the first step.
And Dr. Rowe, Sherelle had mentioned that, it's her and Jesus, but some people need themselves, Jesus, and a Dr. Rowe, right?
Absolutely.
Or support groups. And so what do you say to those folks who are struggling with, and I'm sure some people are like, I don't want anybody to know that I'm got this issue, even if it's strangers, or I don't want to tell my business to a doctor I don't know, or in a support group and talking to people I don't know who may know somebody that I know at the workplace, and then it gets out. How do you counsel folks to have, for lack of a better word, the courage maybe to be in a support group or meet with a professional to help them if that's what you would deem is needed?
Look for someone with whom you can connect. This is about connection. This is about human connection. It's also about respect. So as a professional, look for someone who respects you, and earlier Sherelle talked about boundaries. She had boundaries for the kids, boundaries for her husband, boundaries in the business. You look for people who respect boundaries, because boundaries are a necessary evil when you're talking about your healing. So look to someone, if you're going to make the decision to work with someone, to do the work of therapy, look for someone with whom you can connect, and it's a human connection. Look for someone who respects you, who treats you with respect, doesn't talk down to you, but gives you help and gives you a way to answer your own questions. Because a lot of people have the answers right inside of them. They just haven't tapped into where to access that information.
And Sherelle, how did you get to how did you get to that self-awareness that you've been sharing with us tonight? Were there just certain experiences? Was it a sense of, I'm just tired and I've got to get into a space somewhere in a room and lock everything away and really think hard? How did that come to you? Because, a lot of people can't get there on their own and be able to really be as honest and have, that self-revelation that you've shared tonight.
It's so funny that you asked me that. I have a story for everything. I won't go into it, but what I will say is that my granny, when I was younger, she used to always tell me, you are going to have a ministry, not a business. She used to always say, you tell all your business all the time. You got to stop telling all your business, right? She always used to tell me, I ain't never seen a little girl like you. But what I realized is that I am so unafraid to be honest and to be vulnerable and transparent with whatever I have going on, that when it's time for me to be like self-aware of myself. I know exactly what I've done. I know exactly what I said, who I said it to, why I said it. And now it's time for me to hold myself accountable, right? That's where it gets tricky for me. I'm gonna hold myself accountable very uncomfortably. I'm gonna hold myself accountable. But I know in order for me to get past this situation, I have to be honest and open about it. And so for me, I've always been self-aware. I knew that I had a drinking problem at 19. I knew at 19. I just turned 42. I knew at 19 I had a drinking problem. But that was one of those things, like Dr. Rose said, that I took and I suppressed way deep down with all the stuff that I suppressed when I was a child. I put that right in that folder, right in that locker, and I turned the key and I threw the key out in wherever it was so I couldn't find it. So I didn't even revisit it again until 39, the beginning of this year. So I've always been very self-aware. My husband tells me that it's a gift that I have. He's like, you don't realize that you have this gift of being so vulnerable and transparent and self-aware, and you don't understand. Because when people are like, when people don't see what they're doing, I'm like, are you well? I just don't. For me, it's almost foreign to me. And so it's just been a thing. I can't really explain it. People ask me all the time, how are you so self-aware? How are you so bold to tell your story? I never have a clear-cut answer for that, because I guess it's just a part of my makeup. That's how I've always been as a child. Like when I would get in trouble at school, before they can call my mom, I'm coming home, I'm like, Mom, I told the teacher that I wasn't going to do this because I didn't feel like, it's just, I've been that way since I was a little girl. So I don't really have a clear-cut answer for it. I'm sorry.
Well, no, we appreciate that honesty and that answer. Dr. Rowe, how would you encourage those who are trying to get over whatever hurdle it is, say in a dry January, and then they find themselves slipping up? You know, oftentimes that's the hard thing, how you handle that slip up. You start off well, and then you kind of move back and you slip up, and then you're like, oh, okay, what do I do? That's free advice that you can offer them.
It's not the end of the world if you slip up. Okay. You're on a journey. Life is a process. Life is a process. So this is a process, right? This is part of life. You're on this journey to a greater place, right? So if you slip up, if you make a mistake, just forgive yourself. The first thing you have to do is forgive yourself. You're human, you're vulnerable, you're not perfect, we're made imperfectly. So acknowledge that, write it down. You know, keep a journal of whatever your activities are, whether it's food, whether it's drink, whether it's drugs, whether it's whatever your thing is. Keep a journal, because self-discovery is the best discovery that there is. And what you want to do is discover everything in this process that you can about yourself. So if you slip up, listen, life moves on, life goes on. I need you to move on with it. Forgive yourself and just do better your next opportunity.
Is that the same as rewarding yourself? Because I've read sometimes you actually want to do that too. If you're doing well, you kind of want to acknowledge what you're doing. So is that different, forgiving and rewarding? And is it a valid thing to reward yourself?
I think it's definitely a valid thing to reward yourself. Reward yourself in the right circumstances, though. Don't reward yourself if you said, I'm going to walk a mile and you sat home on the couch. Don't reward yourself for that, right? If you said it's dry January, I'm not going to drink, this week or today, and you have 5 drinks, you can't reward yourself for that. So be realistic, but do reward yourself for those things that you get right. And for those things that you miss, start over, try again, go back and do it again.
If you both
I really like you, Dr. Joe.
It's mutual. The feeling is mutual.
You both have you both work in the world of fitness and nutrition. Dr. Rowe, you're a nutritional coach, and Sherelle, you're a fitness coach. And so I'm interested into knowing too, whatever it is in terms of how it is affecting the body, whether it's drink or food. And you can even talk about other things that affect the body, mentally. But let's just talk about sort of what you're taking in. Sherelle, how did the drinking affect you physically? Did it have a physical effect on you?
Absolutely. So this is my third journey, my third fitness journey. I had my first one when I became a fitness trainer, then my second one when I had my youngest daughter who's 4, and this is my third one. Each of them I have gained over 100 pounds and got over 300 pounds, right?
Wow.
This time I started in January. I got on a scale, my husband and I both. I got on a scale January 2nd. I was 301 pounds.
Of 2024?
Yes, I've lost almost 90 pounds this year. And I kept it off. I've done this before, right? This is nothing new to me, but I'm gonna tell you what's new. The new thing is that I haven't drank. So I've been able to keep the weight off, even if I do decide to go and have pizza and oxtail and rice. And I went to Cabo. I had a great time in Cabo. Me and my husband went on a Virgin cruise. We ate all we can eat. I would have normally gained 20 pounds. I literally probably gained like 5 or 6 pounds. It's because I wasn't drinking. Now, if I was still drinking, that 90 pounds will probably be 40 pounds this year. It'll probably be even 20 pounds this year, because the drinking makes me eat more. You know what I'm saying? So it has helped me to keep the weight off, right, Dr. Rowe? I mean, that's what it does. It just, alcohol has a lot of sugar in it, regardless if you're taking shots or not. You still want to eat late at night, go get you a jumbo slice or pizza or ice cream, whatever. And so drinking has helped me to keep the weight off and also sleep at night, because alcohol gave me nightmares, and it also gave me insomnia. So I sleep well, I keep the weight off, No
I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you. I can't even say it enough. And and also the alcohol is 7 calories per gram. 7 empty calories. I mean, you're not getting any nutritional benefit from alcohol whatsoever. So 7 empty calories per gram of alcohol. And so it can pack on the pounds without you even recognizing it, right? So it's adding more weight through the empty calories, and also enticing you to eat other foods that are calorie rich, and not necessarily. And it's not enticing you to eat carrot sticks and celery. That's not it.
Absolutely, that's gonna piss you off.
Right? Exactly. Right.
And
so
Dr. No, go ahead.
It's all the high fat, high sugar, high calorie stuff that it entices you to eat. What were you going to add?
And I think that's what's so important about our conversation too, when we're talking about dry January, because I can admit my thing. Boy, you said Ben and Jerry's. I got to give a shout out to Haagen-Dazs, because that's.
I heard you get excited.
Oh, did you hear that? Did you see that, Sherelle?
I heard you get excited. You said, "Oh."
And look, I'm gonna be honest. I told my kids, don't get me a whole lot for Christmas. Give me a gift certificate for some Haagen-Dazs, and they got me 3 pints. Now I eat it slow because it's so expensive. I don't buy it unless it's on sale. But I think that's important too. I don't know if that's my go-to stressor. If I'm watching a Commanders game and it ain't going right, it went well yesterday. That's kind of a stressor. I'll get that Haagen-Dazs, and I know I shouldn't eat the whole pint. But it makes me feel good. Now, it can get to obviously a deeper level with other issues. But I find it fascinating in the last couple of minutes, too, where food, I think we kind of can ignore food as that sort of addictive thing. Wouldn't you say, Dr. Rowe, where
we cannot ignore food as the addictive thing? Food can be very addictive. All the kinds of foods that you don't want to eat, that are not giving your body any nutrition, when you're not feeding your body the best, you're feeding it the worst, right? So food can be an amazing distractor. And when you talked about watching the Commanders game, and if you really like the Haagen-Dazs, like especially like Belgian dark chocolate, don't even get me started on that. But I would say, but I know how to take out a scoop and put that in a very small glass bowl and be happy with my scoop, right? But if you're eating it out of the pint box in front of the television, watching the Commanders, every time the Commanders makes a play that excites you, you eat more, you shovel in more, because that's how it works. Then you're shooting yourself in the foot. So food can be an enormous distraction and distractor. And food can take you down a slippery slope if you are if you have an addictive personality, if you have trauma, all of those things can be used with food to take you off the rails.
Well, this has been just a great conversation. Thank you all so much for sharing all that you have tonight. Dr. Rowe, again, if folks want to get in touch with you or learn more about you and your services, how can they do so?
Follow me on social media, but definitely go to my website. It's everythingro.com. The word everything and then RO, just all one word, everythingro.com. And follow me on social media, and you'll see how to join us on the Dr. Rowe Morning Show. We give you health information every 3 mornings a week, and it's all for free. So yeah, go to everythingro.com and join the conversation there, and get some free goodies.
And Sherelle, folks want to catch up with you and your event in our last couple seconds here.
Yes, my event is this Saturday. It's Fit and Fierce. It's a health workshop. We have over 12 or 15 different fitness instructors. I'm hosting the event. Everybody should come. We're going to be talking about perimenopause, addiction, all of the things. You can follow me on Instagram at Mrs. Sherelle Duncan. The event is absolutely free. Go to my page so that you can register, and I'll see you on Saturday.
She is Sherelle Duncan, fitness coach and mental health and sobriety advocate. And she is Dr. Ravinia Brock, also known as Dr. Rowe, author, nutritionist, and health and wellness coach. Thank you all both so much for being with us tonight.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's the Daily Drum for this Monday, December 30th. I'm Bramante Bryant in for Harold Fisher. Have a great night.